Is up, everyone? Cold Case Project back again with you today. I have a new video I'm going to share with you. It's a case that's been discussed time again quite a bit, but just kind of wanted to give my take on it because one of the things that just has always got my interest in a lot of these cold cases is just how truly someone can go vanish without a trace. Now, the case we're going to be discussing today is the case of Cynthia Anderson. Now, like Amy Billig earlier, I found out about this case years and years ago when I was watching the old Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. And it's one of those cases that I've was really intrigued by with just the some of the facts around the disappearance and how we've really never received any clues as to what actually happened to Cynthia Anderson that day on August the 4th of 1981. Whether or not whether or not anything could have been prevented, because as you're going to find out, they put measures into place. However, didn't really do anything. And it's crazy when you think today how you have so much different surveillance and stuff to make things so that cases like this don't happen. So, once again, if you enjoy what you're hearing on my station, if you enjoy what you're watching on my channel, give me a comment down below. Tell me what you think about this case. Give me your thoughts. Give me something you may have read or found out about one of these cases I'm sharing with you each and every day. Okay? Give me a like. It helps me out a lot, gets my videos to move up the ranks, and even when you're commenting down below, give me a like. Tell me something you'd like to see on my channel. I'm actually currently working on, it's kind of a long video at this point, but I'm just going over some of the requests that I've gotten from you because trust me, even if I don't make a video that next day, I do read each and every comment that I get. So please throw something in there. I really want to work for you, the people actually watching my content, giving me likes and giving me positive feedback. And please try to subscribe as I try to put out fresh content for you each and every day. So with all that said, let's dive right in now. Let's go back to 1980. And in 1980, 20-year-old Cynthia Anderson was plagued by nightmares in which she was abducted and murdered by a stranger. Her sister, Christine Savage, now believes that these dreams were a premonition of her subconscious fears. Cynthia was always afraid of something, it seemed, even if she didn't know what it was. On the morning of August the 4th, 1981, Cynthia went to work as a legal secretary at a law firm in Toledo, Ohio. People talked to her on the telephone as late as 9:45 a.m., but got no response after 10 a.m. By the time her employers arrived, she was gone. Her purse and car keys were missing, but her vehicle was parked outside. The door to the office was locked, but she hadn't left a note or put the phone on hold. Most curiously, the romantic novel she'd been reading lay on her desk, open to a scene where the heroine is abducted at knife point. Cynthia reported receiving harassing phone calls, as witnessed by her colleague Larry Mullins. The day before she vanished, she got a call. She reacted like it was obscene and hung up quickly. She was scared. She was honestly and sincerely scared. It gave me shivers, he said, to think of the look on her face. I went home and I called the police department and asked them to do a drive-by and check on her. Cynthia was soon to start Bible college. She had a new boyfriend whom she met through church. At least one source claims that she was divorced. Cynthia was 5'4", 115 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a white V-neck dress with red or pink piping, open-toe sandals, tan pantyhose, a sapphire ring, and a gold watch. She had a scar on the inside of her right knee, shaped like a fish hook. Now, 1 month after her disappearance, police received an anonymous call claiming that Cynthia was being held against her will. The female caller stated that there were two white houses side by side owned by the same family. The family was out of town, but their son was home. He was the person who abducted her, and she was in the basement. Nothing came from this lead. Shortly after she had vanished, 9 local people were indicted in drug trafficking charges, including Richard Neller, one of the attorneys at the law firm. He later went to prison along with drug dealer Jose Rodriguez Jr. This fueled speculation that Cynthia may have overheard incriminating information. An informant claimed that Rodriguez confessed to the murder, but this testimony was ruled unreliable. No other evidence connects him. The romantic novel being left open to the abduction scene suggests to some that Cynthia had staged her own disappearance. Though she left a substantial amount of money untouched in her bank account, if the harassing calls received were real, there may have been someone she was eager to run away from. Since the office door was locked, there was no sign of struggle. People speculated she had boarded a bus and started a new life. Cynthia came from a strict fundamentalist family, very conservative. Her father, Michael, described her as obedient. Just before she disappeared, she was becoming more of a debutante, he said. She was spending a lot of time on her face and herself. She skipped breakfast for this reason. That may be part of the problem. That morning, Cynthia skipped breakfast, yet Michael was dedicated to the case. When he died in 2008, she still lived at the family home in 3030 Springbrook Drive. The father of 4 had buried 2 wives, both from natural causes, as far as we know. A neighbor, Mrs. Hayward, said he had lots of faith and he'd never given up on hoping that his daughter would one day come home alive. Were Cynthia's dreams a manifestation of a real person in real life whom she feared, consciously or subconsciously? Why was she being harassed with vulgar phone calls? Did the nightmares fuel escalating senses of paranoia? Cynthia staged her own disappearance to escape a threat or cover up suicide? The book acted as a trigger for her disappearance. Now, with all this said, there had been, in the days prior to her disappearance, a lot of very suspicious happenings with, or kind of revolving around Cynthia Anderson. There had been graffiti outside of the building. There had been, it wasn't just the day before, she'd been receiving phone calls a number of days beforehand. And I mean, just quite frankly, when you just really put like 2 and 2 together, you just feel that she was being watched. She was being stalked. And the unfortunate thing about this is, to this day, this is the best evidence we have. Okay. She could have heard something she wasn't supposed to hear. This could be a reason why she's no longer around. She could have been followed by a psychotic individual who had just been keeping an eye on her and even new to the page of her romantic novel that she was looking at. She may have just jumped on a bus and gone away to start a new life. As many of you may know, it was much easier in 1980 to take a false social security number from someone who was passed away and just start over again. With all that said, however, there's never been any action on her checking account, on her bank account, or social security number since she's vanished. It's been never, nothing's been used, and as we say, she essentially vanished in thin air. Now, I don't really agree with the whole she jumped on a bus and started over. I mean, that's kind of far fetched to me. It sounds like she did come up from a very strict religious conservative upbringing. As some of us might know, that was a very common way that a lot of people were brought up in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Even still to this day, you have this with some families, but I don't believe that this was one of the reasons for her vanishing. It most likely to me comes from she knew something she didn't know, or she had someone had seen her in the office. Maybe this was even someone connected to the drug dealer who initially discussed having killed her. Someone who could have been connected to him could have had something to do with this. They, to my knowledge, the house between the two white houses has never been tracked. So for all we know, this could have just definitely been a false claim. So down below, give me your comments. Let me know what you think may have happened to Cynthia Anderson. Now, as I always like to do in these types of videos, I want to give you a moment of silence for this victim who is still to this day a missing person. So let's start. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave me a comment down below. Leave me a like. Stay tuned as I have more coming up for you tomorrow. Take care.